lot of nuts!
Welcome back, hyenas. Today we're talking about feet. I don't know, I just thought it was interesting. You know, there's a lot of feet memes that I see throughout the day. I'm not really a foot guy. I'm not a foot guy at all, actually. I'm not into feet, but I am into memes. So I thought it would be an interesting video to make covering some foot memes for everybody else who's into feet. I mean, everybody who's into memes. It's difficult to deny everybody's a little obsessed with feet. And by everybody, I mean everybody other than me, because again, I'm not into feet. But my country does happen to be the only one that still measures distance in feet. It seems as though everybody else is just devolving into not being into feet. We all know America does it best. Evidently, we've been measuring distance in feet for the last 5,000 years, which in my opinion means the ancient Sumerians were the freakiest motherfuckers on the planet. Hey, Ancient Tony, I need to know how much corn to buy. Do you know how big your farm is? Yeah, I mean, I measured it the other day. I'd say it's about 1,000 of my wife's feet. You did what? You could have used anything that you had access to measure how far away stuff is, and you decided to go with your delicious toes? I mean, disgusting toes. At first, I was all, feet, as a joke. But bro, I don't think it's a joke anymore. I think it's underappreciated just how much discovery is in this meme, how revealing, how true this meme actually is. Because the reality is that feet people have been like the black sheep of the fetish community, which is a weird sentence, by the way, since the dawn of time. I think it's interesting because if you're into thighs, you know, that's like perfectly acceptable. And yet the distance between the thigh and the foot is about as close as you can get on the body. And despite the fact that they're both part of the leg, one of them is considered high culture, and the other one should have you shot in the street like the degenerate that I am, that you are. Everybody outside of the US uses what? Meters. And nobody makes fun of them for it. But everybody looks down on America because they use feet. And I don't think that's a coincidence. If I said my favorite fighting game character was Chun-Li, you'd think, hell yeah, everybody loves those thighs. But the second I say that my favorite fighting game character is Juri, oh, it's a problem. It's a huge problem. This supersedes internet culture. Chicken thighs, totally acceptable. Chicken feet, mostly considered disgusting. Where is this coming from? I think one of the major issues with feet comes down to bad branding. They need a better PR team when it comes to advertising feet, in my opinion. Abs, titties, ass, it's all self-explanatory. Everybody's on board with it. But when it comes to feet, they're considered gross and dirty. And for some reason, nobody tries to make that feel any different. If I was a part of the foot community, which again, I'm not, I feel like I'd make an effort to make them seem more attractive rather than doubling down on the idea that them being gross is what makes them attractive. One of the first viral examples that I remember seeing about feet becoming more mainstream was footfinder.com, something that went through some sort of guerrilla marketing campaign on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, where numerous people were just making memes along the lines of, man, I can't believe I made $5,000 last week just by posting my feet online. In reality, nobody was doing that, but it got everybody asking, how are you making $5,000 from posting your feet online? And through a couple of clicks, they would discover footfinder.com. It's not like the notion of selling any other part of your body online is completely absent of any taboo. Seth Rogen's entire character was just a dude who was cataloging nude images from movies onto his website in the movie Knocked Up. And while that made him seem like a creep, it almost seemed like a cool idea back in the day. And yet, when you make a website like WikiFeet, where you catalog every celebrity's photos of their toes from any public appearance, it's considered weird. Listen, the reality is that we're probably not going to get to the bottom of what it is that makes feet people into feet. Although I do think it's self-explanatory as to why people who aren't into feet, like me, aren't into feet. But the fact that there's so many people on both sides of this issue makes it such a perfect breeding ground for memes online. If you want to get attention on something, you don't do it by being attractive to everybody. You do it by hyper-stigmatizing the other half of people that don't like what you're into, therefore solidifying the people that are into what you're into. For instance, I'm really into the caffeine-free lemonade flavor from GamerSupps. You can get your own for 10% off using my link in the description. And if you don't want to, I can polarize you, therefore doubling my sales. If you don't buy it, you're a bitch. What if being into feet wasn't some predetermined thing that's like set to you by birth? What if it's a psyop by big Hollywood to get you into feet so that people purchase more Crocs? It's not the craziest conspiracy theory. You guys can take a look at any childhood animation that you watched, Totally Spies, SpongeBob, whatever, and you'll see it filled to the brim with a tremendous amount of things that could be considered fetishes. I'm really into sponges. They made an entire movie about a mermaid, made by Disney. Mermaids don't even have feet. What's the big climax to the story? That she gets feet. It shouldn't be called The Little Mermaid. It should be called The Little Freak. Who's making children's television, huh? Disney? Cartoon Network? Nickelodeon? The company whose logo used to be a foot? The company whose major programming was directed by Dan Schneider? A dude who is most known for taking advantage of his position? Setting up a contest where people would send him pictures of their feet? I'm sorry, but I don't think that's a coincidence. It doesn't stop at children's programming either. Quentin Tarantino is known for producing some of the most critically acclaimed movies in our lifetime, and they prominently feature feet. Bro is not beating the allegations. Back in 1999, he wrote a scene where an actor would be sucking on Selma Hayek's toes as she poured tequila down her leg. That is the second freakiest thing I have ever heard. The first being the fact that Bro then decided to play the character himself. If you told me that a director decided to play an actor himself just to be able to get away with shit like that, I would assume you were talking about Neil Breen, not Quentin Tarantino. Guys, I'm writing the next Marvel movie. It's about how Iron Man has to fondle Black Widow's breasts for 90 minutes straight to cure his cancer. Black Widow could be played by, I don't know, Sydney Sweeney. And obviously, you know, Robert Downey Jr. is not available anymore, so I mean, I guess I could play Iron Man. I mean, I get, like, if we need me to play Iron Man, I guess I could do it. Maple syrup foot job at Denny's. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. One of the most hyper-specific fetish-driven memes I have ever seen. The waiter at Denny's seeing me get a foot job with syrup under the table. It continues to stigmatize foot jobs, and therefore feet, so it isn't the perfect PR move if we want to get more people into foot jobs, and by we, I mean you. But it's funny. Nihilists, after getting their first foot job under the table at Applebee's, I want to live. Now we're moving in the right direction. Taking a few steps if I want to be the world's least funny YouTuber. Foot jobs can cure your depression? Can end the nihilism? Life has no meaning. Receive foot job. Wow, I found a newfound reason to live. You can save 1,000 people from depression by jerking them off with your feet, using syrup under the table at your local Denny's or Applebee's. Frankly, I don't see why the restaurants aren't advertising this service. Back in September of 2023, Riot announced a new character for League of Legends by the name of Briar, a vampire girl whose hands were locked away and therefore did all of her damages through kicks, which doesn't make a ton of sense for a vampire, but thematically, if she's foot-focused, everybody will be completely responsible in the way that they go about it. Which explains why they almost immediately updated her splash art by covering her feet with shoes because nobody could contain their excitement for Briar's toes. Can you imagine being such a degenerate that League of Legends doesn't even want anything to do with you? It's difficult to tell the difference between foot fetish art that's designed to be gross as an alluring method to, you know, the thing that turns you on, versus foot fetish art that's being gross for the sake of being ironic and making fun of foot people. What exactly am I supposed to learn from this image of Garfield's feet? Am I supposed to be turned on Or am I supposed to be making fun of the people that are being turned on? Sonic will never escape. If there is a fetish, there will be a Sonic version of it. I think that's rule 60-something on the internet. Doge lore is completely riddled with foot fetish memes. There are dozens of examples of Doge being in situations where he's into feet. He's supposed to be the most relatable meme on the internet. So why is it that I find it so easy to relate to him, so difficult to relate to him? Jesus Christ would wash the feet of Peter in the Bible. That is canonically accurate. That is a thing that happened. Whoever wrote the Bible isn't just a freak. He's a super freak. Super freak. He's super freaking now. It seems as though the pipeline goes from ironically enjoying memes about feet to becoming a full-on foot fetishist. And I hope I have done a good job of proving that I am totally not into feet by sharing with you all of my favorite foot memes for the last 11 minutes. I don't know if I could make it more clear. If anybody else is wondering what it must be like to get a syrupy foot job from a goth GF in the undertables of a Denny's, feel free to hit the subscribe button so you catch my videos coming out every day. It's right next to the like button, which you can also click for free. Doesn't cost you a dime. A big shout out to the patrons scrolling in the back. Thank you so much for supporting the show. And I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Feet.